Hey guys, so I'm going to teach you 3 techniques really quick. Can't even really call them patterns, they're really just techniques, and I'm not even sure what to call them. The body contact stuff, hacky sack tricks. Anyways, off the knee, off the elbows, and off the foot. And really there's not much to say here because that's pretty much what you're going to do. When it comes to knees, the knee is the most simple. You definitely want your throw to be as straight as possible. So in the middle of whatever pattern you're doing, throw a pretty straight toss about face height. And at first, you're going to be tempted to look at the contact point where the ball meets your knee, which is fine, but after a while, you'll get more accustomed to it. You won't have to glance as far down. When you do that, you want to hit right behind the kneecaps. The kneecaps here. You want to hit back here. You don't want to hit too much in the muscle. It'll still bounce, but it won't pop quite right, and you risk hitting a little bit off, so the ball will veer left or right. You want to hit, this is the sweet spot, right around here. You have about 2 inches behind your kneecap. And if you hit even like half an inch to the left or right of center, the ball will definitely veer off at an angle, which sometimes can be okay if you're trying to position the ball a little bit to the left, but generally I think it looks best when you pop it straight up. And you'll find the right moment of contact to get it some really good pop. I'll do it on the left too. When you get pretty consistent at this, you can bounce off both. Okay, so elbows. I prefer to do elbows these days for Mills Mess, and I haven't taught you Mills Mess yet, but in a future video I will, and if you want, after you've finished watching that, you can come back. I like to throw from an underhand toss like this, and to curve it over to the opposite elbow, like that. I think that's just the smoothest way to do elbow tosses, but before that, if you just want to practice with the elbow, you want to hit with this spot. It helps if you hit the actual bone. The meat right behind this bone is also okay, but the more meaty the hit, the more it's going to hurt frequently because you're going to hit muscle. And the key with the elbows to keep the ball from going too far is you want the toss to be pretty high. The more angle there is in the curve, the harder it is to be accurate and keep the ball going mostly up. The ball's going to go flying at a sharper angle if the angle is sharp to begin with. So, and you can just practice. You can hear the sound on that one is a little bit more meaty, and it sounds a little bit more like a thud when you hit the bone. Once you get pretty good, you can try and do one elbow to the other, which can be tricky. You're gonna screw that up several times practicing it. So these days, the way I like to do that is I'll do a Mills Mess. There we go. Anyways, so there's elbows. As for the foot is pretty much just like the knee, straight toss, and this is definitely something you don't want to do if you don't have shoes on, so definitely get some shoes with a pretty wide and flat into the shoe so that you have something to bounce off of. I think it's a little bit tricky, but it's very satisfying. It has a nice loud thud when you get it right. And there are people who do it off the heel, the back of the foot. I haven't practiced that yet, and I don't want to try now because the ball's going to go all over the place. Secret to this is to wait pretty late, I'd say when the ball is at the knee or below, to start bringing up the foot. Otherwise you risk hitting it with the knee, but you're going to hit it at an angle and it's going to send the ball flying forward. So wait pretty late and pull straight up. Sometimes I have a tendency to kind of like lean back when I do it, and that'll send the ball towards your face, which isn't the worst thing, but like that. Sometimes if the ball goes out too far when you go to do a foot, I don't know what to call that, a foot bounce, that can be a good thing. If the ball goes way out, you can send it back to you. Sometimes if you screw up during a normal pattern, you can try to catch it with your foot to save yourself from dropping the ball, and sometimes that works for me. Maybe 20% of the time. It looks great when I, when I pull it off. I'm not as solid with my left foot. You can try to combine these, which is definitely tricky. I think the easiest combination is to go off the knee onto the foot. I can usually do that with some success. Let me try that. There you go. And see how like off the knee, it didn't go straight up, it went out, and so I caught it with my foot. And since I'm leaning back, it sends the ball back towards me, which works nicely. You can try to go from the knees to the elbows. Sometimes that works for me. It's really satisfying when you can do like a 3-hit combo off the knee, off to one elbow, off to the other elbow. That's pretty tricky. There we go. Good. I don't know what to say about that. The place where you make contact on the knee and the foot and the elbow matters the most. With the elbows, you want the ball to come high, and you want to make sure that you hit here. If the elbow is tipped too much, you're likely to send the ball this way. You want it to come mostly up, especially if you're trying to get off the other elbow. When it comes to going off the knee to the foot, that was pretty clean. There we go. You want a lot of control on the knee bounce, as straight up and down as possible. And that's about it. This is just one of those things you gotta drill and practice, but it's really nice because while you're in the middle of doing a bunch of swirly patterns and stuff, you can break your pattern, add something a little percussive to it. It can really help to add some variety to your patterns. Okay, well anyways, good luck drilling that. Have fun.